Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Fast English Talk. My name is Jason, and as always, I'm super excited to be here with all of you today. If you are listening while relaxing at home, walking outside, studying, or even drinking a cup of coffee, thank you so much for joining us. We truly appreciate your time, and we are happy to be part of your English learning journey.
And hey everyone, this is Julia. Welcome back to another exciting episode. Today we're talking about something that almost every English learner dreams about: how to speak English naturally every day. You know, not just speaking English with grammar rules in your mind, but speaking smoothly, confidently, comfortably, and naturally, like it's becoming a real part of your daily life.
Exactly, Julia. You know, many English learners study for years. They learn vocabulary, memorize grammar, and watch English videos every single day. But when it's finally time to speak, they still feel nervous, confused, or unnatural. Sometimes their sentences sound too robotic, too slow, or too translated from their native language.
Yes, and honestly, that's completely normal. A lot of learners think, why can I understand English but still can't speak naturally? If you feel that way, don't worry, because today's episode is going to help you understand the real reason behind that problem and, more importantly, how you can fix it step by step.
That's right. In this episode, we're going to share practical daily habits, simple speaking techniques, real-life conversation examples, and powerful tips that can help you sound more natural in English every single day.
So make sure you stay with us until the end of this episode, because today's conversation could completely change the way you practice and speak English.
All right, everyone, grab your notebook, relax your mind, and let's jump into today's topic: speak English naturally every day. All right, Julia, before we talk about how to speak English naturally, I think we first need to understand the big problem. Why do so many English learners sound unnatural, even after studying English for a long time?
That's a really important question, Jason. And honestly, one of the biggest reasons is that many learners focus too much on studying English instead of using English in real life. They spend years memorizing grammar rules, vocabulary lists, and textbook sentences, but they rarely practice natural conversations.
Exactly. A lot of learners know English in their minds, but they don't use it comfortably in daily situations. For example, they may know difficult grammar rules perfectly, but when someone asks a simple question like, "How was your day?" they suddenly freeze and don't know what to say.
Yes, and another huge problem is translation. Many learners first think in their native language, then translate everything into English in their heads before speaking. That process makes speaking slow, stressful, and unnatural.
That's so true. Natural speakers don't translate word by word. They think directly in English. But learners often create pressure for themselves because they want every sentence to be perfect before they speak.
And that fear of making mistakes is another major reason why English sounds unnatural. When people are afraid of mistakes, they speak too carefully. Their voice loses confidence, their sentences become robotic, and conversations stop feeling natural.
Absolutely. Sometimes learners speak like they're taking an exam instead of having a normal conversation. Real communication is not about perfection. It's about expressing your thoughts naturally and confidently.
Also, many learners don't spend enough time listening to real English conversations. They learn formal textbook English, but real-life English is very different. Native speakers use contractions, simple expressions, reactions, and casual phrases every day.
Right. For example, native speakers usually say, "I'm gonna do it," instead of, "I am going to do it." They say, "Want to grab some coffee?" instead of, "Would you like to drink coffee with me?" Real English is shorter, smoother, and more relaxed.
Exactly. So if your English doesn't sound natural yet, it doesn't mean you're bad at English. It simply means you need more real-life speaking practice, more listening, and more confidence in using the language naturally every day.
And the good news is this: natural English speaking is a skill that anyone can improve with the right habits and consistent daily practice. All right, Julia, now that we understand the problem, let's talk about something very important. What does speaking naturally actually mean? Because I think many English learners misunderstand this idea.
That's absolutely true, Jason. A lot of people think speaking naturally means speaking exactly like a native speaker or having a perfect accent, but that's not true at all. Speaking naturally is not about sounding perfect. It's about sounding comfortable, confident, clear, and relaxed when you communicate.
Exactly. Natural speaking means your words flow smoothly without too much overthinking. It means you can express your ideas in a simple and real way, instead of trying to use difficult vocabulary or complicated grammar all the time.
Yes, sometimes learners try so hard to sound intelligent that their English becomes stiff and unnatural. But in real conversations, people usually speak simply. They use everyday expressions, short responses, natural reactions, and casual phrases.
Right. For example, instead of saying, "I am extremely exhausted at this moment," most people simply say, "I'm really tired." Natural English is usually simple, direct, and easy to understand.
And another important thing is emotion and reaction. Natural speakers react automatically during conversations. They say things like, "Really? That's awesome. No way. I get it," or "That makes sense." These little expressions make conversations feel alive and natural.
That's such a good point. Speaking naturally also means speaking with confidence, even if your English is not perfect. You don't need perfect grammar in every sentence to have a great conversation.
Exactly. In fact, many fluent speakers still make small mistakes sometimes, but they continue speaking smoothly without fear. That's the key difference. Natural communication is about connection, not perfection.
So if you want to speak English naturally, don't focus on trying to sound perfect all the time. Focus on being clear, relaxed, expressive, and comfortable when you speak.
Because at the end of the day, natural English is simply real English used in real conversations every single day.
All right, everyone. Now let's talk about the most important part of today's episode, the daily habits that can help you speak English naturally. Because honestly, fluency doesn't happen in one day. It grows little by little through small daily actions.
Exactly, Jason. Many learners think they need to study for 5 or 6 hours every day to improve, but the truth is consistency is much more important than long study sessions. Even 30 minutes of focused daily practice can create amazing results over time.
Absolutely. And the first habit is very simple, but very powerful. Start thinking in English. Instead of translating every thought from your native language, try to create small English thoughts during your day.
Yes. For example, when you wake up in the morning, say things in your mind like, "I'm feeling sleepy," "I need some coffee," or "Today is going to be busy." These small mental exercises train your brain to use English naturally.
The second habit is to speak out loud every single day, even if you are alone. Many learners only listen or read English, but speaking is the skill that truly builds confidence and fluency.
That's right. You can describe your surroundings, talk about your plans, explain your daily routine, or even have imaginary conversations with yourself in English. The more your mouth practices English, the more natural speaking becomes.
Another powerful habit is listening and repeating. Choose podcasts, YouTube videos, movies, or interviews with clear English speakers, and repeat their sentences out loud. Try to copy their pronunciation, rhythm, emotion, and speaking style.
Yes, this is called shadowing, and it's one of the best ways to sound more natural. You're not only learning words, you're training your ears and your voice to work together.
And don't forget to learn real-life expressions instead of only formal textbook English. Native speakers use phrases like, "What's up?" "I'm kinda tired," "Sounds good," or "No worries all the time" in daily conversations.
Exactly. And finally, make English part of your lifestyle. Listen to English while walking, watching videos, texting friends, or thinking about your day. When English becomes part of your daily routine, speaking naturally becomes easier and easier.
Remember, everyone, small daily habits may seem simple, but over time, they completely transform the way you speak English. Hey, Julia, do you want to grab a coffee after this podcast recording? I honestly need something strong today because I stayed up really late last night working on a project.
Oh, wow, really? You look surprisingly energetic for someone who didn't sleep much. But yeah, coffee sounds like a great idea. I've actually been craving an iced coffee all morning.
Same here. There's a new cafe near my apartment, and people keep talking about it online. I heard the atmosphere is really cozy, and their coffee is amazing.
That sounds nice. I love quiet cafes where you can just relax, talk, and enjoy the moment. Sometimes busy places make me feel exhausted.
I totally get that. Honestly, cafes are one of my favorite places to practice English conversations because they feel natural and comfortable. You can talk about simple everyday things without pressure.
Exactly. And that's something English learners should understand. Real English conversations are usually very simple. People are not speaking with perfect grammar all the time. They're just communicating naturally.
Right. For example, imagine a learner walks into a cafe and says, "Good afternoon. I would appreciate receiving 1 cup of coffee." Technically, it's correct English, but it sounds too formal for a casual situation.
Yeah, most people would simply say, "Can I get a coffee?" or "I'd like a latte, please." Short, natural, and easy.
And natural conversations also include reactions. Like if you tell me, "I got a new job," I might say, "No way. That's awesome." Those little reactions make conversations feel alive.
Definitely. Also, native speakers often use contractions and casual expressions. Instead of saying, "I am going to," they say, "I'm gonna." Instead of "Do you want to," they say, "Do you wanna." Hearing and practicing these patterns helps learners sound more natural.
Exactly. The goal isn't to sound perfect. The goal is to sound comfortable, relaxed, and real during conversations.
And honestly, the more you practice small daily conversations like this, the more natural your English will become over time. Confidence grows through real speaking experience.
Absolutely. So everyone listening right now, try practicing simple conversations every single day. Even a 2-minute conversation can improve your speaking skills more than hours of silent studying. All right, Julia. Before we finish today's episode, let's talk about some common mistakes that stop English learners from sounding natural.
That's a great idea because sometimes learners work very hard, but a few small mistakes slow down their progress without them even realizing it.
Exactly. And one of the biggest mistakes is trying to sound perfect all the time. Many learners are so afraid of grammar mistakes that they stop speaking completely or speak very slowly.
Yes, but real conversations are not perfect. Even native speakers make small mistakes sometimes. The important thing is communicating clearly and confidently, not speaking like a robot.
Another common mistake is translating every sentence from your native language into English before speaking. That habit makes conversations slow, stressful, and unnatural.
Right? Instead of translating, try to think directly in simple English. Start with small thoughts and simple sentences. That's how natural speaking begins.
And many learners also focus too much on memorizing vocabulary without actually using the words in conversations. Knowing words is helpful, but using them naturally is what really matters.
Absolutely. Another mistake is not listening enough to real English conversations. If you only study grammar books, your English may sound too formal or unnatural in daily life.
Exactly. So remember, everyone, don't fear mistakes, don't overthink every sentence, and don't wait for perfect English before you start speaking.
Because the more naturally and consistently you practice, the more confident and fluent you'll become over time.
Before we end today's episode, we want to remind you of something very important. Learning to speak English naturally is a journey, not a race. You do not need to become perfect overnight. Every small step you take is part of your progress.
Exactly. Sometimes learners become frustrated because they compare themselves to fluent speakers or native speakers online. But remember, every fluent English speaker was once a beginner too. Nobody starts perfectly.
That's right. The key to improvement is consistency. If you practice a little every single day, listening, speaking, thinking in English, and using real conversations, your confidence will slowly grow stronger.
And don't be afraid of mistakes. Mistakes are not proof that you are failing. They are proof that you are learning and trying. Every conversation, every sentence, and every practice session helps your English become more natural.
Absolutely. Some days you will feel confident, and some days you may struggle. But don't stop. Real progress happens when you continue even on difficult days.
Believe in yourself, stay patient, and enjoy the process. Your English does not need to be perfect to be powerful. Your voice matters, and the world deserves to hear it.
So keep practicing, keep speaking, and most importantly, keep believing that you can become a confident and natural English speaker. All right, everyone, let's quickly recap what we talked about in today's episode. We learned that speaking English naturally is not about using difficult words or sounding perfect all the time. It's about speaking comfortably, confidently, and naturally in real-life situations.
Exactly. We also talked about why many learners struggle with natural English speaking. Things like translating too much, being afraid of mistakes, focusing only on grammar, and not practicing enough real conversations.
And most importantly, we shared some simple daily habits that can truly improve your speaking skills, like thinking in English, speaking out loud every day, listening and repeating, learning real-life expressions, and making English part of your daily routine.
Yes, remember, fluency is built through small, consistent actions. You do not need to practice perfectly. You just need to practice regularly and naturally.
Our final advice for you today is this. Stop waiting for the perfect moment to speak English. Start now. Use simple sentences. Speak with confidence, and allow yourself to grow step by step.
And don't forget to enjoy the journey. Language learning becomes much easier when you relax, stay curious, and have fun with the process.
Keep practicing every day, keep believing in yourself, and little by little, you'll notice your English becoming smoother, more confident, and more natural than ever before.
All right, everyone, that brings us to the end of today's episode. We really hope this conversation helped you feel more motivated and confident about speaking English naturally every day.
And now we have a small challenge for you after listening to this episode. Try to speak English for at least 5 minutes today. Talk about your day, your plans, or anything you like. Just keep speaking naturally and confidently.
Also, let us know in the comments, what is your biggest challenge when speaking English? We'd love to hear from you and maybe feature your question in a future episode.
Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share this podcast with your friends who are learning English too.
Thank you so much for spending your time with us today.
Take care, everyone. Keep practicing, and we'll see you in the next episode of the English Learning Podcast.